Alright, so today I'm going to talk about how to double key on high ping. So to get things out of the way, if you don't know what ping I play on, I play on 50 ping to NA East and 70 to NA West. And I am one of the worst mechanical pros there are, but I still am signed and I'm top 30 in the power rankings as of today, and I have 61k earned. So I consider anything above like 30 or 40 ping to be high ping really, because most pros play on 30 ping or less. And this video is pretty much just going to be me talking, and I'll have some clips to be examples about what I'm talking about. And also I know that there's a new season today, so a lot of the clips I'm going to show are with the spaz, so they won't be directly they won't directly translate, but the basics will still remain the same and still apply that I'm talking about. And I'm gonna link timestamps in the description for when I talk about what, so if you don't want to listen to the whole video to find out when I talk about like what you really want to listen to. And in this video I was originally gonna talk about all of offensive fighting in double keying and also defensive boxing. Because defensive boxing is very important, and you're always gonna end up boxed sometime when you're double keying in an arena game or during like an opens game. Like you're gonna get sniped or you're gonna get out traded and you're gonna have to box and heal. So, but I realized that it takes way too long just to talk about the offensive part of double keying. So I'm just gonna focus solely on that in this video, and maybe in a later video I'll talk about defensive box fighting on high ping. With that out of the way, if the introduction's out of the way, okay, so the main things that I'm going to talk about today for offensive fighting are aim, pressuring their box when they're boxed, and build fighting. Those are the three main things. Okay, so for aim is not ping reliant at all. You can have good aim on any ping. It doesn't matter if you have 0 ping or 100 ping. A headshot snipe or a 200 can happen on any ping. And any damage before a fight starts is HP advantage and height, and it usually makes you the aggressor and not and you need to pressure their box. So usually you want to get as close as possible to them without them hearing, so that way you can get the beam and then pressure them really fast before they get a chance to heal. Okay, so that's the first thing, is aim. And when you do beam someone, or you're about to beam someone, what you can do is you can assess their skill level. How they react to getting shot at will show what kind of player they are. Like, for example, bad players are really slow to turn on box, and good players will usually make space really fast, or they will build up and start build fighting you if they're confident. And another thing you want to do is, when you do get close to them, start pressuring them, is to listen to what kind of shotgun they have. Because a blue shotgun and a purple shotgun, they have different pullout sounds. So if you can listen to that, you will know if you need to play more safe, or if you can just, or if they have like a lower tier shotgun and you have a purple or gold tack, then you know you can play a lot more reckless. And sometimes if you are at a shotgun disadvantage, you might just want to disengage the fight and fight someone easier, and then later in the match you can go back and fight them when you're more evenly matched on loadouts. Okay, so that's pretty much first things. That's pretty brief. Aim/assess skill. Okay, so now let's say you tag them, or let's say you completely miss all your shots but they just box up and you're double keying. So now you need to double key them. So now it comes down, you need to pressure them. So pressuring is just whenever you're trying to double key them and they are boxed up. So there are 3 main ways to pressure someone, and those are spraying/pickaxing their walls or like their roofs, piece control, and then there's exploits. So I'm going to show examples of piece control and exploits when I talk about them. So first I'm going to talk about spraying and pickaxing their walls. So pretty much you want to do this. So let's if you do tag them, you want to do this to stop them from healing, and you can usually get tags in by spraying their wall and then getting it weak and then stopping spraying and spraying again, because when you stop spraying for that split second, they might think that you're reloading, and then they will start building or trying to edit out, and that gives you a chance to get tags in. And obviously, since you're on high ping, you can't just walk up and first try their wall and Mongrel Classic them and kill them. So some basic things that you can do are to pressure from multiple different angles. Like for example, you can, instead of just shooting one wall, you can shoot 2 of their walls and get both of them weak, so they don't know which one you might spray next. So they have to kind of guess or like flick their mouse or controller joystick around, and hold both walls at the same time, and that gives you a chance to get more tags in. Or you can do the same thing with like getting their cone weak and their wall weak. They don't know what to hold, and then if you choose the right one that they aren't holding, you can get shots through, or you can maybe even take the wall that they're not holding. So pretty much a lot of times, especially if they're boxed up in wood, or if you're really close to them, even on high ping, you can take their wall if you can break their wall fast enough before they can react and hold the wall piece. So right here, he's on wood and he's popped a splash and he had no time to react, so I could first try his wall. Like if you saw, he had his pickaxe out, and when you splash, you have a really slow animation, so it takes a long time to pull your build pieces out. So pretty much, if you can spray and time it correctly and do it fast enough, you can take their wall when they're not holding it, even on high ping. So if I pause right here, you can see like he isn't even holding his wall right now. He had his chug splashes out and he just switched to his pickaxe. So I took his wall while he wasn't holding it, and then I put the cone in so he can't ram me off, and I get a free kill. So that's an example of just breaking their wall really fast while they're trying to heal or something, and then you can take their wall before they can even react, and that's not ping reliant at all. You always need to be careful of being boxed, and you always want to have a ramp or a cone if you're on their wall, so that way they can't just edit out and ramp you off and box you. So there are 2 main questions you always want to ask yourself when you're about to like start box fighting someone or like get on their wall. So one is when you should not be pressuring them. And in that case, these are all part of mind games, and it just comes down to when do you hold your gun out and when do you try to break their builds. Because when you are breaking their builds or spraying their wall or pickaxing them or whatever, you are pressuring them and you're stopping them from healing, but you're also exposing yourself to getting edited on and pumped. But when you are holding your gun out, you are not pressuring them at all, but you are safe to trade shots if they do edit on you, and that can potentially get you the elimination. So how do you know when to hold your gun out and when to break their builds? Because sometimes when you're holding their gun out, you're just letting them pop a mini for free or finish popping a big pop for free, and it could end up hurting you. So it all comes down to experience and reaction time, really. For example, if you're fighting a controller player, you're gonna want to keep your gun out more often than not because they might just jump out on you. Or for example, if it's off spawn, if it's an off spawn fight and they only have an AR and you have a shotgun, well, they're probably gonna edit out and jump out on you because they want to get in your face with their AR, and that's the only way they can really win the fight. And also, you also need to keep in mind that, like, even if they are healing, that doesn't mean you just full commit and break their wall, because they could be fake healing and trying to bait you to full commit, and they can just edit out and get a free pump shot on you and then edit out of the box. So there's just a bunch of things that you need to keep in mind when you're trying to pressure them, and it mainly comes down to when should you not be pressuring them and just holding your gun out. Okay, so here's an example. You can hear him popping the heal, and I don't fall for his bait, and I just keep my gun out, and I get a free 200. So if I play it again, yeah, you can hear him popping the heal, and it just comes down to experience to not falling for it. And also another thing that you should note in this situation, in this clip, is that, like right here, when I'm on his wall, I have really bad space, and I'll talk about space in this moment. But because pretty much when he edits out on me, there's nothing in between me and him that I own. So he is in complete control of when the fight starts and when like we're trading shots. Because yeah, I'm just directly in his wall. I can't build a ramp, I can't ramp it off, there's no walls in between. So in general, when there's bad space, but when you have really bad spacing and there's nothing you own, you always want to keep your gun out. To be safe rather than sorry, and even if it costs letting them get a heal off. So here's another example. Okay, so I'm just on his wall, and I just hold my gun out, and he edits out on me. I don't even need to do anything, and I just get a free 200. Okay, another example in a team game mode. Pretty much, this guy's getting pressured, he's a solo. And almost always in these situations, you just want to keep your gun out, because they have to make a play on you. And this is also an example of me not not double pickaxing or committing to the pickaxe. You see, I pickaxe one time and I pull my gun out immediately, and he edits out on me, so I'm prepared and I get a free 180 and kill. And in the situation, it doesn't matter that much because it's 3-on-1. So even if he does knock me, my teammates would have finished him off either way. But the idea still matters, where pretty much you don't want to full commit, and you always need to keep it in the back of your head that they might edit all on you. So you need to be thinking about whether you should hold your gun out or not. Okay, so and then along the same note, of keeping your gun out are pre-fires. So pre-fires is pretty much when you shoot the wall or the roof before they have edited. And this is similar to holding your gun out, except instead of waiting for them to edit out on you, pre-fires are when you don't know if they're gonna edit on you or not. So you're just taking a guess, and then you're getting out of there and making space, and then you're gonna pressure from a different angle or something. Here's an example. Pretty much, I'm just sitting here, and I don't know if he's edit on me or not, but I just shoot either way, and I time it correctly. Like, I guess when he's gonna edit out, and if he doesn't edit out on me there, I'm perfectly fine because I have space. I'll just back up and I can make another box. So it just comes down to timing, and after you pre-fire, you also want to make sure that you have space. Here's another example. I pickaxe once, I don't commit, I pre-fire there because I think he's gonna shoot. Pre-fire again, and this time I guessed correctly. So a lot of times, like, pre-fires, they do come down to luck a lot of times. Like the first time I pre-fired in this clip, like I just shot his floor because he didn't edit out. And then I made space, I put a wall up just in case he did edit out on me after I did pre-fire. Because like right here, I pre-fire, and then if I pre-fire and I guess it wrong, he edits out on me next, then he gets a free shot on me while my pump can't shoot again. So I built a wall here to make space, so he can't shoot me back. And then I pressure from a different angle. This is an angle. I try to take his floor, I don't get it. So I just pre-fire again, and I build a wall. Like, just in case my pre-fire missed there, I build a wall so he can't pressure me back. So that's pretty much what pre-fires are about. They're just about timing and making sure you have space to not get punished after you pre-fire. Okay, and one more example. This is a different type of pre-fire because this one is more... This pre-fire is complete timing. It's timing, timing your shot exactly with when he's gonna break the build piece. And this is a lot more skill based and a lot less luck. And it just comes down to having good crosshair placement and timing. Okay, so that was the first question you should always ask yourself. If you remember, I said there's 2 questions you should always ask yourself. First one I just said is when to hold your gun out and when to break the builds. And the second one is when to pressure them fast and reckless, and when to pressure them slow and safe. So when you pressure someone fast and reckless, you're just going directly against their wall, and you're just pickaxing in, and you're maybe doing a ramp phase in or something. Like you're not really giving yourself much space, but in return, it allows you to pressure them really fast and secure the kill really fast and you usually only want to do it if they're really weak and you have a really big health advantage. And then the slow and safe playstyle is when you make sure you get piece control. You're at a safe angle where, like, if they do pump you, you can always really easily make space and expand out and start healing. But the downside of that playstyle is that you can't pressure them or like capitalize on huge health advantages really quickly. So it pretty much just comes down to how confident you are and how much of a health advantage you have, and like your weapons loadouts, obviously. For example, if they have a gold tack and you have a gray tack, you're gonna want to probably play, in general, you want to play more safe. But you can also make an argument in that case to play more reckless, because you're gonna need a miracle usually to win a fight when they have like such a huge gun advantage over you. Okay, and so this idea of space is pretty much just any building pieces that you own or pieces that you can own between their builds and your builds. And in general, the more space you have, the better. But it also takes more time to make space, because you need to like if you're pressuring someone from like a box away, you're gonna be safer, but it's also gonna be harder to get their wall. And even if you do get their wall, it's gonna be harder to quickly like Mongo Classic them or break their ramp. So here's an example. So this is a like a slow and safe way to pressure someone. See, I make a lot of space. I have this wall right here in between me and him, and I have a ramp too, so I have two building pieces in between us. So just in case this guy does hit me and I don't hit him at all, I have a lot of space to back up with and start healing and expanding, and it's really safe for me. And right here, I'm able to get his wall because right here, sorry, right here, you see he does a peanut butter edit, and instead of holding his wall, he's holding his gun out. He's holding his gun out to try to peanut butter and right hand peek me. So this allows me to break his wall really fast before he can. You see, he has his gun out right now. He wasn't even trying to hold his wall. So I break his wall really fast because the Stark Rifle does a lot of damage, and he can't even react, and I've already edited, and there's nothing he can do here. He just made a bad edit, a bad peek, and you just capitalized on it. So it goes back to breaking their wall before they can react, and also, this is a really safe angle for me because he couldn't even see me because of my ramp edit. Here's another example. So, and this one, this isn't really offensive fighting. This is more defensive boxing because I'm boxed and this guy's trying to W me. But it's still a really good example of having space. So you can see, like, I have 2 boxes worth of builds, and this guy's trying to LMG in my box for some reason. He's probably a controller player, and I have a lot of space. I have this wall right here, and I have the cone behind me, and so all I have to do is just shotgun him and then make space. You see, I shotgun him, I edit, I shotgun him, I miss, I shotgun him again, and then I edit the floor out so he can't shoot me, and it gives me time for my pump to recharge. And then I just keep doing this. I shoot him, and I make space, and I have so much space. So even if I didn't get the ramp there, I still had the wall, and I still had this ramp right here. So this is just an example of having a lot of space and why space can be important. But like I said, making space has downside because it usually makes the fight take a lot longer, and it's hard to capitalize on their mistakes. So you just need to keep that in mind when you're fighting someone, because sometimes there's definitely right times to go for safer plays where you piece control everything, and then times where you should just full send it and just go for the wall. Okay, so now let's talk about if you are full committing to breaking their wall, or just getting in front of their face instead of like going for super safe plays. So the main thing that you want to remember is that you should almost never full commit a pickaxe. You should never full commit pickaxing their wall 2-3 times in a row. You always want to pickaxe and then pull your pump out and then pickaxe again. And especially for someone who's like still getting the basics of box fighting, it's a really good habit to develop, to get yourself into. So because even if it does end up letting the person you're trying to fight get a mini off, at the end of the day you're still protecting yourself, and it's a lot safer for you than if you full commit and then they edit out on you and then all of a sudden now you're down 100 HP or something. So okay, so that's the first main tip. So now some actual strategies you can do for when you do break their wall are building a ramp in their box, taking a wall, roof, or roof they aren't holding, or you can just full on like ramp phase in or harpoon in, or use some other exploit to get in. Okay, so I'm first gonna talk about getting a ramp in their box. So this is when you turbo build a ramp in their box, and it only works if they don't have a cone in their box, but it works a lot of times for me, because a lot of times people don't, it's a really bad habit, but they don't build a cone in their box. So it just lets me ramp them off, and then it lets me guess where they will expand to, and I can get preemptively piece control it, and then it gives me a chance to get a free kill without, and it's not ping reliant at all. Because when you get a ramp in their box, you're giving them a couple of options, and it all depends on like where they are on the building grid. But they can either break the ramp, and if they break the ramp, it gives me a chance to take their wall while they're breaking the ramp, or they will edit out, they will edit down, they will edit back, they will edit out of left or right. If you can guess where they will edit to, you can piece control it and then box them really easily. And in general, you just want to, it's just a good habit to develop, especially as a high ping player, to go for builds first instead of going for a shot first. So here's an example of getting a ramp in their box. As you can see, I pickaxe once, I pull my gun out, I don't full commit to the pickaxe, and I pre-fire it, and he also pre-fires the wall as well. So it breaks the wall, and then you see, I'm not even trying to build a wall. My first instinct is to build a ramp. That's my ramp in their box, and he still has a wall. So now he has a decision, because he's in this tiny shack. He has two main plays. He can either break the ramp and then build a cone in the box so he doesn't get ramped off again, or he can edit out this left wall, because the right wall and the back wall aren't his. So I know this, so I piece control this side, because I know he only has those two options. And guess what? That's what he does. He edits out, I piece control it, I fully box him. There's nothing he can do. I get a free shot, I'm already out before he can even shoot me again, and then get a free kill. So like once again, this comes down to a lot of things I've talked about. See, I pickaxe once, I don't full commit to the pickaxe, pre-fire, and I build a ramp as well just in case he does edit out on me, and then piece control, and I guess where he's gonna go, and I'm right, and he's dead. So these plays, they're not ping reliant at all. You can do them on any ping. Okay, so now here's a different example. This is also the same technique where I build a ramp inside their box instead of going for the wall, but this one's a little more advanced, and it's a lot harder to pull off. So right here, this guy who's actually a good player. He predicted where I was gonna go, and he actually boxed and coned me, but I held my gun out. So pretty much like right here, I tried to go for piece control, and I didn't get it. So my first instinct is to pull my gun out, because I just realized I'm in like right here, I have zero space. there's nothing I can build. Besides maybe a ramp in his box, but he can just rock in front of the ramp and it won't work. So I pretty much have zero space here. He owns the wall, he owns the ramp, and then he just boxed me. So I have zero space, so my first instinct is to pull out my shotgun. And it works out because I out-trade him and he misses. So now I try to pressure from a different angle. Because that's always the thing you want to do. You don't want to pressure from the same angle consistently, because it just makes it harder to predict, and it's easier to for them to make a mistake if you go from different angles. So I try to go from this angle, but he realizes it and he blocks it off. So I go back from this angle. Like, I realize I'm still boxed. So right now I still have no space. So pickaxe once, pull my gun out, and I realize this guy isn't gonna add out on me. So I decide, okay, I'm gonna rotate my ramp. And you see, I didn't even go for the wall. I just flip my ramp and I ramps him off. And then he panics and I get a free kill. So this comes down to a lot of things I talked about, and especially the ramp in the box. Except this time right here, you see I pickaxe one, pull my gun out. I don't expect him to edit. This was just a guess. I assumed he was not going to edit. And even if he did edit, I assumed that he would have done a peanut butter edit again. So my ramps phase. So he would not have. I would have blocked him off even if he did edit on me. So that's just something that you can take time to learn. Ramp, like flipping your ramps and weird angles like these where there's a ramp. But it pretty much just goes back to the same point of building a ramp in their box instead of the wall. And then, like, sometimes they just panic and they don't know what to do, and I just walk in their box and I get a free kill. Okay, so that's one thing. There's ramp and box. That's one way to pressure. So now another way to pressure is, it goes back to that last clip where you pressure from multiple different angles / walls, and they don't know which wall to hold or which wall to reset. And if you can fake it out and be unpredictable, you can take a wall they aren't holding. So for me, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. And I'll show an example in creative. Okay, so right here, so let's say this guy's boxed, right? One of my go-to strategies to pressure them from multiple different angles is setting something up like this, where I have this wall blocking it off so they can't add out on me, and I pressure like this, pickaxe once, hold my gun out, and then I go for the wall like this. Or I can do combine it with with what I was talking about, ramping in their box, and when I break it, I just turbo the ramp in instead of going for the wall, and maybe try to piece control this side over here. But anyways, going back to pressuring from multiple different angles. I really like this angle because I can pressure their wall, or I can pressure this wall, and I can pressure their cone. And if you know the right angle to pickaxe at, you can pickaxe their floor through their cone without breaking their cone. So yeah, and something like a tip that you should do when you do these strategies is to always make sure that you're building with the same material that they're boxed with. So let's say they're boxed in brick, right? And I'm in wood right now. I want to switch to brick so that way they have less time to react if I do somehow take their wall. Or let's say I'm pickaxing their cone through their floor through their cone. Like, a lot of people don't realize you can do this. And if I do, and if I pretend to pickaxe both at the same time and I take their their floor, they might not realize I took their floor because I'm using the same material that they're building with. So it's a lot harder to see the difference. Like, let's say I took their floor in metal. Okay, they'd immediately see the difference. They'd immediately realize that, oh, they somehow just took my floor, and then they'll expand out, or they'll break the floor. But if you do it in the same material, there's a chance that they don't realize it, and you can get a free double edit on them. And then there's a bunch of different ways you can pressure different angles besides the one that I just showed. There's one's a lot more risky. You can pickaxe down, pull your gun out, and switch angles. You can pickaxe the roof as well. And yeah, this one's a lot riskier because you risk getting boxed. But if you're confident enough and you're like in your own edits. So like, let's say you do get boxed. If you're fast enough, you can just flip the ramp and then build a wall on your side and then jump out. So it's about like the quality of play you're facing and how confident you are in your own mechanics to get out of getting boxed. Okay, so that's another way you can pressure with. There's what do I do? Ramp in box. You can pressure multiple different angles. On the same note of pressuring multiple different angles, so let's say you're fighting someone really good, and none of these strategies are working. What you should do then is to spray or pickaxe and break their builds like repeatedly from multiple different angles that are safe, where you can't get hit. And eventually they will have to make a play, and you just have to be ready for whatever play they could make. Like they could impulse up, they could bounce her up, side jump, build for height. And when they do that, you need to be ready and anticipate it and out-aim them. And if you lose a trade, you need to be ready for a defensive box fight, which I'll talk about in a later video. Or you could always box up and wait for them to pressure you. And it's because it's really easy. It's a lot easier to get a kill with defensive boxing and high ping than offensive pressuring. But if you do just box up and it relies on the guy you're fighting actually like turning around and W-king you. So pretty much, yeah, you just need to spray their builds and like either until they run on the mats or until they make a play on you, and then like be ready for it. Play, and this guy just boxes down. Like this is his huge tarp. Like he owns all of these builds. So I try to go for a wall. He tries to go from a different angle. I'm ready, and I hold my gun out there. So like right here, this is boring. This is like the angle I'm talking about. It's a one layer above pressuring angle. This is the one I just showed in creative. And I just keep my gun out and I'm pre-firing. You never know when the pre-fire works. He accidentally breaks it and I get a tag in. So like right here, I'm just spraying his builds because I know he's a good player and I know I'm not gonna take his wall. I'm just spraying him and he goes for a play. So that's what I'm talking about. He decides to stop boxing and he decides to build up. So now it's a lot easier to go for trades when they're build fighting you actually. So he goes for a play again. And he impulses up. So yeah, like it just shows how fights are really fluid. Like 1 second you can be boxed up, and the next second you're the one fighting. So right here, this is another thing I was talking about. This clip right here. So I'm on height, and he's boxed. So, and I'm at the same angle I'm talking about, right? Like this top left angle where I can pressure multiple different sides, and it's really safe because I can anticipate a lot of things that are coming. So right here, what I decide to do is I try to do the strategy I was talking about where I spray their wall out really fast before they can react and hope I can get it. So that's what I tried to do right here, except this guy anticipated it and he edited out on me immediately. So this just goes to show that sometimes those plays are really risky, and it all just depends at the end of the day on the quality of the player you're fighting. So right here, luckily he misses and I don't get the wall, and he does the same play again. And as you can see right here, if I go back, like right here, I try to get the wall, I dropped down, I didn't get it, and I have no space right here because I'm directly against the wall. There's nothing that I own. Like I had this cone, but I would have to back up to edit the cone, and other than that, like I'm just directly against the wall. He controls when the fight happens. So right here, I just hold my gun out the entire way. I don't even try to do anything. So when he does edit on me, I have my gun out and I'm ready to trade shots with him. And then I go over and I strike to the right where I have space now. So now I have space. I have my own building pieces in between. He does not control the entire tempo of the fight. You're pretty much like this guy. I try to go for the same angle again, like break it really fast. Right there, I go for the ramp and box to block him off, but he's already left to a different box. And so like right here, I'm just playing it really safe because I know he's a good player. So I'm just making a lot of space. Like right here, I have this wall in between. I'm just trying to spray him, like to get him out of the box so he actually does something on me. Because that's when I can actually like capitalize on mistakes. This guy's a hard sweat. So like right here, this is the strategy I was talking about at the beginning of my video. Spraying and then stopping to spray and then spraying again. Like right here, I'm spraying him. I stop again for 1 second. I stop again. Like I'm just trying to get tags in. And that doesn't work. But you know, sometimes I did get 1 tag in, but it didn't really work the way I wanted to, especially against good players. And he just comes back down, turtles in his huge tarp. So pretty much, what I ended up doing was I just ended up disengaging. I fought someone else. I refreshed my mats on a free kill, and then I ended up fighting this guy later, and I killed him. But it even though I didn't really do any damage here, it shows a lot of the points I was talking about, where you know you always need to take into consideration your space and know when to hold your gun out versus when to go for builds, and how sometimes like the strategies I'm talking about are kind of risky, like trying to spray their wall out really fast and getting their wall before they can react and hold it. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to something else. It's still along the same line of pressuring, but this is a different kind of pressure where you just wanna full send and you wanna get in their box. And you can do this with a ramp phase or like with whatever loot you have, like a harpoon or impulses, but the ramp phase is the most consistent because you can do it on any meta, on any ping, and you don't need any inventory items to ramp phase in. And pretty much it comes down to just getting their wall weak enough for one pickaxe or to spray through, and then you time your pickaxe or your spray and a running jump, and you can phase through their box. And it's not ping reliant. Obviously a 0 ping player can phase into your box easier than a 50 ping player, but it still works if you have good timing. Here's an example. Right here you see I'm holding my gun out, and then I realize this guy is the type of player who's only gonna hold his builds out. He is not gonna even try to edit out on me for some reason. So I know that I can just full commit to a pickaxe, and I'm safe from getting edited on because he's been holding his wall this entire time. Because if you rewatch, like he hasn't even tried to do anything, he's holding his wall. So I realized that, the ramp phase in, I build a cone so he can't ramp me off, and then I 200 him. Okay, so here's a longer fight. I beam this guy for almost 160 damage, and then I'm trying to get in. So like right here, I have really bad timing. I'm timing my ramp phases really wrong, but this is also the same thing of pressuring multiple different angles. Like I went for one wall, I went for the next. I'm going for the angle that he's most exposed in, where his ramp isn't blocking off. And right here, I try to time it again. I miss the timing again. And this time I get the timing right, and I get in. So like this clip just shows how you pressure from multiple different angles, and how it's really important to get the timing correct. Okay, so this is a harpoon clip. I just harpoon in, build a cone in, and he's dead. So like the harpoon, it works on any build. Like wood is the easiest because it can get through fully built wood, but if you're fast enough, like right here I have the meadows, he just built the meadow, so it's building, and I see him healing, so I know he's not gonna be able to react fast enough to build the wall or to anticipate me coming in because it's metal. So I get a running start right here. I have a running start, so I'm fast enough, and I instantly build the cone so he can't ramp me off because that's his first instinct. Like right here, you can see him pulling out his builds. His first instinct is to ramp me off, but if I instantly build a cone in my box, he can't do that, and now it just comes down to a 50-50 and whoever has better aim. Okay, and then on a similar note, I'm always going for piece control right here. So you see right here, I'm in the bad space. I'm holding my gun out always. I'm not even trying to pickaxe. And I get out to a better angle. And I realize, like I was originally planning on faking it out and going for the harpoon in on this wall. I realized he's ramped me off from this side, but I can get in from this side. So I just harpoon in, and it's a free kill. So this shows how you need to use your harpoons or your items correctly, and you can get in their box, like just when they aren't holding their walls, when they can't react. Okay, so all of this comes down to really these are all just really exploits or like different strategies you can learn to get in someone's box with, and it works on any ping. For example, like some stuff I didn't talk about are impulses. Impulses, if you can learn the right distances and the right timings, you can get in their box really easily with impulses. And there's also crash pads. Those are my personal favorite. Those are really easy to get in boxes with. Really straightforward. You just put it on a ramp and then you can crash pad in from their roof or their wall or anywhere really. But unfortunately they were removed this season, or fortunately if you hated them. But it just shows how like all of these different exploits and ways to get in, they're constantly evolving, and it just depends on the season and the meta. Okay, so finally the last thing that I wasn't talking about, so I've already talked about the first two things, which is spraying or picking their wall and exploits. And the last thing that I've already like kind of touched over, but I'll go over now and more in depth, is piece control. So that's pretty much just when you have no mobility, or you don't want to use your harpoon or anything to get in because you don't really have a health advantage, or you're not really confident in your aim. So piece control is a really easy way that's not ping reliant, or it is a little ping reliant but not very ping reliant, to to get a kill on someone really easily. Okay, and I think that I can explain piece control a lot easier by show examples. So right here you can see I'm getting the piece control. I'm making space, so I'm making sure that I have space just in case this guy does edit on me. I can reset this wall, or I can edit this cone. And I'm just holding my gun out right there because I was expecting him to edit on me. And he edits out over here. And I hear it, and instead of holding my gun out, first thing I do is I go for a cone and floor double edit. That boxes him off, and then I build the wall back there so he can't get out. I don't know if you saw, but like first thing, like once again, I did not go for a shot. First thing I did was I built the wall over there. And then now he's fully boxed, nothing he can do, and I get a free kill. So it just shows how important it is to go for your builds first, especially on high ping, so you can box him really easily and get a free kill. So here's another example. This one goes in hand with what I was talking about with the ramp and box. So right here, I have my pickaxe out instead of my gun, because I think I have time to pickaxe, but I was wrong. You see, like right here, this is an example of when I made the wrong decision. I decided to go for the pickaxe, and I committed the pickaxe instead of holding my gun out. So let's say I did hold my gun out, I probably would have got a free tag here. But instead I went for the pickaxe, and fortunately he missed his shot. But I was able to get a ramp in his box. I broke the wall. I got a ramp in his box. Okay, so now I'm guessing that he's gonna expand out to the left. That's just my first guess, because I can't really, even if he does expand out to the right, he already has builds there, so I can't really piece control that. So I'm just piece controlling this side for the best, and I guessed right, and I fully boxed it. I get the cone, I get the walls, so he can't get out, and I get the free elim on him. Here's another example. This one isn't really about guessing where they're going. It's more so just, I mean, in a way it is, but I just got piece control on both these walls really early, and because I was either hoping he would stay in this box and I could box him right here, or I was like, I just got his build piece just in case, because you never know, maybe I needed to edit out. But I got super lucky, and he happened to box up right on the build piece, and he did not even realize that he was right next to my build piece, and put a cone in his box so he can't ramp it off, and I get a 200 pump. Okay, so pretty much that sums up pressuring box. That sums up box pressuring on high ping. And I'm gonna summarize. It comes down to two main things. When you need to think about when you need to keep your gun out and when to break their wall, and you also need to think about when to go for smart and safe angles, and when to directly pressure the walls or exploit in. And then the last tip is to always go for builds first. You want to piece control them and then box them before you go for the shot, because you're not zero ping, so you can't just take the wall later. You need to always go for the builds first. Now let's go back to aim. Let's say I tag them for 30, or I don't tag them at all, and then instead of boxing, they start build fighting. They start ramping at me. So that comes down to a build fight. That's when, and build fights are my favorite part of W keying, because they are not ping reliant. They are very little ping reliance. So like aim is a least ping reliant. Build fights are very little ping reliant, because they're about how good you are at how good your mechanics are, how good your retakes, your side jumps, and your aim are, more than your ping. Because when you're pressuring someone who's boxed, you can't take their wall, so you need to know all these different little strategies and nuances to get advantages and piece control them or get tags in. But for build fights, these aren't relevant. In build fights, it's really easy to box fight someone if you have good piece control, and they are also really easy to practice. Like all you need to do is just go in creative and get your friend on and start build fighting them, or you can go on YouTube and find one of the like thousands of tutorials on different retakes and learn them. So these are really simple ways, and usually I try to force a box fight, especially if it's against a good player. Try to force a box fight into a build fight, because I enjoy build fighting, and I think they're one of my better parts, my stronger suits. And yeah, so pretty much it just comes down to, it's really easy and it's a lot faster to end fights on high ping in build fights than box fighting. Here's an example. This is a build fight, and off the bat, like I get the tag in, and off the bat I'm already going for piece control on every single thing I can possibly get. Like I get the wall here because like this is really close, so I know the wall is gonna matter. I get the wall, I edit it, and I also build the ramp, and I flip the ramp. And look, once again, I first go for piece control. I flip the ramp and I fully boxed him, and I get a tag, and then I I flip the ramp back instead of going for the full commit. I flip the ramp back, and he breaks the ramp instead of hitting me. So this is an example of making space. And then I get a free tag, and he doesn't hit me at all, and I get the kill. So like once again, like build fights, they're really easy. None of this was very ping reliant. Like maybe getting the wall there was somewhat ping reliant, but other than that, like everything else, this does not rely on ping. It simply just relies on how good of a mechanical player you are. Example. So there's a guy boxed below me, and then he decides to start building up and start build fighting me. Get a free tag in, and I edit down. I always go for builds first. You see, I edited down. I went for the walls first instead of pulling my shotgun out, so I boxed him. And then he doesn't realize it. He expanded out to the left, and he doesn't realize I have his wall. I get the Conan, and I get a free kill. This is another example. This is why I should get good at PG fights. This is a window edit. I cone it. He's completely boxed. Side jump. Only 40 damage, but I crack him. And then once again, go for builds first. I go for builds first. I box him. He can't back out. And then I kill him. For example, so right here, this shows how fights are really fluid, and they can change like in the blink of an eye. So like right now, I'm using this safe angle I was talking about, a really safe angle. I'm pressuring from the top right, top left, and I piece control everything so he can't at all on me. And then this guy finally gets tired of it. He's like, okay, I just need to do something. Like he decides to go for a play instead of sitting here. And I don't even realize it. I try to piece control him here. I thought he was gonna do it, and I don't even realize that he's built up. So I play it safe, get piece control. I try to cone him there. I miss. And then right here, I get all the piece control, and just like that, I get a free shot. And then I guess where he's gonna go to, and I get the kill. So now let's say like you don't have mats, or you try to build up and they just keep holding height. So then, or you don't want to go up to height because there's a bunch of third parties and you don't want to get chopped out. So then what you can do are, if you have bouncers or impulses or crash pads, and the crash pads aren't relevant now, but you know they might come back in the future, so you never know. You can use any of those to like get height really fast and get a free shot. But for impulses, you need to be really careful because impulses make it really easy for you to get beamed because you end up going a lot higher than you want. So you need to be careful for those. And so, but if you don't have any of those inventory slots or items, what you can do is you can try to break it out if it's held up by nothing, or if it's held up by a lot, you can try to like start pickaxing in builds and try to pretend you're breaking it out, because they'll usually drop down on you and try to go for an angle. So you just need to be ready and anticipate when they're gonna drop down on you, while trying to like fake break it out. Here's an example of using like how crash pads or like bouncers can get you height really fast and get you an elimination. So like right there, I crash padded up. This guy had no time to react, and I just get the elim on him. And I know bouncers aren't in the game anymore. I mean, crash pads aren't in the game anymore, but the same thing would have worked with a bouncer if I had bouncers. The same thing would have worked. Or if I had impulses, it would have worked too, but this guy would have had a lot more time to react. This clip shows how you can like pretend to break down, and then just be ready for them to drop down and be ready to like outtrade them. So like right here, this guy was sitting on height. Like I know the clip doesn't show it, but this guy was sitting on height. So I dropped down because this was the weakest level that I saw, and I start pickaxing it out. I'm trying to hope for him to drop down. Like I'm listening, I hear him drop down. Pull my gun out and box him and get the free elim. So that pretty much sums up offensive fighting on high ping. Aim is number one. It's the least ping reliant. You need to get good at build fights because there's little ping reliance in build fights. It's about your mechanics and your retakes and your skill. And if you had to W key a box player, this comes down to good piece control, playing good angles, and a lot of it comes down to experience. So how can you build this experience? And you just need to go ahead and practice in arena and tournaments, W keying. It will help you build confidence. And yeah, that's pretty much just that covers all of offensive fighting. So now the other part of W keying on high ping is defensive boxing, defensive box fighting, because a lot of times in W key games you're gonna be boxed. If you're fighting a good player, you're not always gonna be the one trying to W key. So, and defensive box fighting, it's less ping reliant than pressuring someone who's boxed, but it's also more ping reliant than build fights. So it's like an in-between between pressuring someone who's boxed and build fighting, and it's also something that has a lot of like little detail to it and it will take me a very long video to explain all of it again. So I'll probably do it in a video in the future, depending if I feel like it or not. But that's something you need to keep in mind, that everything I just talked about, like all this offensive fighting, it's only half of like the actual what you need to know for W keying. Okay, so yeah, thank you guys for watching this long video. And if you want me to, like, if there's any other videos you guys might want me to talk about in the future, like maybe a loadouts video or obviously the defensive box fighting video, just comment down below and just let me know. And yeah, let me know if this video made sense to you guys, if it actually helped you. Like I just literally just went on like an hour-long rant, and I don't really know if you guys actually understood what I was talking about or not. So if you guys comment and tell me or let me know, I would really appreciate it. Help me out a lot. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.